I'm here with Sherri Seraphini of Fire Mountain Gems and Beads, and Sherri's going to show us how to make this fabulous, bold and sassy bracelet. Look at that. It's a great cuff.
Well, thank you. Well, our first step is to glue the suede to the inside of our cuff. Since we're working with 1 inch, I have a 1 inch cuff, and I've glued the suede to the inside and left a little bit of an edge. About 1/8 of an inch is good. Our next step is to move to our piece of interfacing, which is going to be the part that we bead upon. The first thing I do is give myself a 1/4 inch on each side of this piece, and I have an inch space on the inside to bead.
Okay.
Okay, this will be cut off later. I apply my cabs where I want. These are my chosen cabs.
And you know what's great about it is there's so many different varieties of cabochons that you can choose from, and it just depends on which design you're looking for.
Oh, they're wonderful.
That you can get, yeah.
Wonderful.
Be very creative with it.
Yes, I absolutely adore cabochons. I have a large collection of them. So what we do is we arrange a pleasing pattern on our 1 inch strip. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to take this from you. And you glue it down though, right?
We glue those down. We use our jewelry glue. Yes,
okay.
Yes, good point. Jewelry glue, and we glue those down. And here's a sample of a piece glued down. Now the stitch I want to show you is called a back stitch. Okay, you thread a needle single thread. And the reason we use single thread is because you will be making several passes through these beads.
Okay.
Now I pick up 2 beads at a time.
Okay.
Pull them snug against my cabochon.
And what size beads are those?
These are size 11s.
Okay.
You can work with 11s or 15s.
Okay.
For beginners, 11s are nice. They're larger.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Yeah, they're larger. You can see them.
Easier.
Now, what we do is we put the 2 beads on, and then we come back up at our starting point at the back side of those beads.
Okay. And you're just using regular thread?
Yes, and we're passing through those 2 beads again. Well, this is thread's called Nymo, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have used Fireline in various beads, but for bead embroidery, Nymo is a wonderful thread. Okay, we have 2 beads strung on. Now, I'm going to pick up 2 more beads. I only work with 2 beads at a time, and the purpose for this, and this happened through trial and error, I've used more than 2 beads at a time, only to have my beads pop up. When you lie them against the cuff, they do not lie smooth.
I can see
so
that.
It's better to take the extra time
to just do 2 at a
just
time
do 2
and
beads
make it
at a
perfect.
and have, if you're going to put all the effort into making one of these, then you want to do it right.
Absolutely.
So,
okay. So you get those and they go all the way around?
And this is how I start with the focal point. I call my cabs my focal points. I like to start from here. And this basic back stitch will be used throughout the entire piece.
Look at that. Look what it comes out like.
And this is 2 rows of back stitch around this cabochon. Now what I'd like to show you now is what's called a stop stitch.
Okay.
And this is wonderful. You can do stop stitch 2 different ways. Okay, bring your needle up from underneath your interfacing. And in this case, I'm going to pick up a large rondelle, pick up a size 11 bead, and pull them tightly against the surface, and pass back down through just the large bead.
Okay.
Now this adds texture. And these are 2 simple stitches. Throughout this piece, we will be using back stitch and stop stitch. Now, I wanted to note, before I continue with that you can, if you're a beginner and you're not comfortable with just going, I like to just bead and let the beads tell me where to go. You can take a permanent marker and draw
do like your own little pattern or something.
Draw a pattern on here, and you can follow those lines if that makes you more comfortable.
That's a very good tip.
Them through here. Now that's a little design tip.
Perfect.
And a lot of people really like to do that.
So you're covering this entire background, so those lines won't be seen at all.
We are painting this entire surface with beads. I like to call this painting with beads. So from there, you can come up around that cabochon. And another way to put those on, a freshwater pearl might be to go from the side.
Okay.
And you just keep adding interesting patterns. You can follow that little line until this whole piece is completely covered. And I can't pick it up.
I know, they get a little bit hard. And we're going to show some further steps too as you move along. And you
Okay.
can make this incredible cuff.
Okay.
love
Once
that.
this piece is entirely beaded.
Let me move this out of the way. I'm so excited to see what it's going to look like.
Oh, this is so much fun. I enjoy this so much. This is so much fun. Once the piece is entirely beaded, what you're going to do is cut off the sides.
Look at that.
Cut off the sides. And here we have our beaded strip.
Look at that. It's
Okay,
perfect.
this piece gets applied to the cuff. The finished cuff that we did in the beginning is now
Right.
ready to come back, and we glue the beadwork to the top of the cuff. So we're sandwiching, in a sense, the
cuff.
brass in between the suede and the beadwork. Now we want to work, our final stitch it's a brick stitch, and this finishes the piece and closes the edges up.
Okay.
Okay, now I started a few rows.
And now I can see why you left a little bit of an edge in the beginning.
That's why you
All
need the
that.
edge. And when you are cutting in the beginning, it's better to cut a little bit more because some beaders tend to pull a little bit on their beading surface and can make the inch a little bit smaller, which is another reason we do not cut off the
Right.
quarter of an inch too soon. You may need to add a few beads.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So you're just really closing it up and really keeping them together, both
Yes.
pieces.
You will brick stitch the entire way around this cabochon. The brick stitch is picking up a single bead, going through both layers,
Perfect.
pulling down, and coming up. And
Love
you would
that.
finish the entire cuff that way, and you would have...
Yes, let's look at the
finished
finished project. And you know what's great, Sherry, is that you brought some other ones to show different variations, and then also thickness. You can use a cuff that's maybe a little bit thicker
yes.
in the width.
Oh, yes.
But the most important thing are these pieces over here. Ooh, these
my-
necklaces and...
These are my babies. Now, this technique, believe it or not, can be used for every single piece up there. This is bead embroidery. My basic stitches are back stitch and the stop stitch, and that's how all of these are done.
They are gorgeous. Look at even earrings. And this last handbag we're going to show. Oh, I love this handbag. Well, this is definitely bold and sassy. And you know, you made it look easy, too. Thank you so much, Sherry.
Well, thank you.